Good morning. Welcome to the Alabamaworks webinar series, monthly webinar designed to provide information and speakers related to the workforce in Alabama. Past webinars are available on the Alabamaworks website at alabamaworks.com. And now your host, Tim McCartney, Chair of the Alabama Workforce Council.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 2023 Alabama Workforce Council monthly webinar. Today, we're going to have a fast-paced lineup of 5 speakers who are going to cover a lot of ground quickly, so buckle up and listen in. First, we're going to have Nick Moore from the Governor's Office, who will start us out with the labor market monthly report update. Nick's got a meeting right after this, so he'll disappear immediately after his report. Following Nick, we have Mr. Jeff Brannon, who is CEO of Flowers Hospital, along with Stephen McCormick of the Alabama Hospital Association. And they're going to talk about addressing the healthcare shortage in our state with the hospital-based nursing school program to fill the gaps. Following them, we'll have Ms. Bridget Wilson, who's Executive Director of the Southwest Alabama Workforce Development Council, commonly known down there and across the state as SAW-DC. And Bridget will provide us an update on what's going on in Alabama Works Region 7. Following Bridget, we have Ms. Rachel Thomas, who's an adult education specialist with the Alabama Community College System. Rachel will provide us an update on MAP, which stands for Mobilizing Alabama Pathways. It's a program of short courses that prepares individuals for industry-specific information that culminates with a credential of value for entry-level workers. Following Rachel, we have, and closing out today's session, we have Mr. Dan Hinderleiter, who's Senior Policy Associate with Advanced CTE in Washington, D.C. Dan's going to present on career technical education. So without further ado, I'll turn the floor over to Nick. Nick, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could we please enable the screen sharing?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Nick, you can't share your screen right now? Just 1 second. You know, this is that button that I'd really like to be able to find right now.
Well, we'll just take it verbally and just want to share a couple things with you about the labor market this month. Month over month, our unemployment rate decreased to 2.3%, which has set a new record low. And we also had the great news that this month, 3 of our metro areas have the 3 lowest unemployment rates in the country. That includes Decatur, Huntsville, Hoover, Birmingham areas. And that's really interesting that we would have several of our metro areas that have the lowest unemployment rate in the entire country. Now, our labor force participation rate, on the other hand, is unchanged at 56.7%. And so if you want to go back to where we were in April 2017, back when Governor Ivey came into office, we were at 56.7. So we want to continue working to get that labor force participation rate up. And we are beginning to focus in on the 24 counties that have a labor force participation rate under 50%. And those are also the counties that have the lowest post-secondary attainment rate. So focusing on attainment and labor force participation together, and allowing some of these counties that have less than 50% to begin increasing their rate. I'm going to try one more time to share my screen.
All right, I think we're set now.
Perfect. Thank you, Gary. So this is the map of our county level labor force participation, and the counties below that Pareto line are those that have lower than 50% labor force participation. So we'll be focusing particularly on those and looking at the shadow labor force there and trying to get more people in from the non-participator category into the shadow labor force, of those that would take a job tomorrow if it were not for childcare, transportation, housing, training, equipment costs of some kind. So pairing together short-term training that articulates to a degree with supportive services and focusing on helping to overcome barriers. And this just shows those areas that have the lowest labor or unemployment in the country. But in times like these where we've got very tight labor markets, again, our big focus is on labor force participation, but it's still a feather in the cap for the state to have that distinction. Looking at our WIOA allocations, we have been, lack of a better term, shellacked over the last several program years, going back to 2018. We get punished for having a low unemployment rate, but a pretty low labor force participation rate too. So the formula, as I may have mentioned on here before, is not dynamic enough to meet the needs of our population, because we do have quite a few people that have barriers to entry, but this does not provide any kind of flexibility for that. So we've seen, for example, between 2018 and 2023, for the adult program, a 38% decrease, 31.6% increase for a dislocated worker, 38.1% decrease for the youth program. So for youth, dislocated worker, and adults, which is the main Title I programs, we have seen about roughly between a 30 and 40% decrease in those programs. We've seen about an 8% decrease in Wagner-Pizer, and now we have seen an increase in voc rehab, but just almost across the board, major cuts. And this is at a time where we're trying to do more with less. And so that's why, as far as our WIOA programs go, as we begin planning for our 2024 combined plan, we're going to be focused on the metrics that really matter, which is training and employment, and the employment to training ratio. So if we've got goals of reaching the national labor force participation rate, we're at basically 57% right now, and we want to get that up 5 percentage points, and knowing that 1 percentage point is well over 20,000 people, we've got to do more than just serve the 8 to 10,000 people we're serving right now through the public workforce system. So these numbers, I hope, will not serve as a way of demoralizing us, but to reflect on the fact that the governor's strategy of measuring what matters and focusing on what matters, which is the number of people that get a credential, the number of people that got a credential that are employed, and the people that got a credential and that were trained that are employed 6 months and a year after they were trained, is what we've got to be focused on. Some of those other metrics are informative, but that's not ultimately what we're going to be looking at as far as what is success. So I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for allowing me to join you today.
Well, thanks, Nick. Thanks for the update. I know you got to run, so appreciate all you do in the governor's office. So thank you. Have a good day. Next, we have Bridget Wilson from Region 7 Workforce Development Council, and Bridget's going to give us an update on what's happening in South DC. Floor is yours, Bridget. You're muted, Bridget. Bridget, you're muted.
And I had said such wonderful things. So
They're
thanks
wrong
so
about
much.
me.
They were really, they really were. So thank you so much, Tim. One, for letting me know what my mistake was, and now to get started. Hopefully you can all see my screen. Is that correct?
Not yet. Jerry, have you got her before she can use the PowerPoint?
Should be coming now.
There we go.
There we go.
Perfect. How's that for everybody? Much better? Good. So good morning from down in Region 7 of the great state of Alabama. So as you'll see, something that we do like to cover every time is that Region 7 for SALT-DC, for the Alabamaworks network, covers the 9-county region of Southwest Alabama. Very unfortunate to hear the news from Nick on the below 50% on the labor force participation rate. We are encompassed by quite a bit of rural counties, and so 6 of our 9 counties are below the hot zone number of 50%. So you'll definitely hear and see in the coming months and probably years to come a lot of work being done to really impact and provide opportunities for our rural counties to make some changes to impact those labor force participation rates. But what you'll see here is that we are a regional partnership of business, industry, education, and government collaborating to cultivate and grow our thriving economy. Now, we could not do that without all of our partners, starting from Department of Commerce, Department of Labor, our community college system, our chambers, our K-12 system, specifically career and technical education. But of course, we are business and industry led, so they kind of drive the work and the efforts that we do. And so when we look at that, what do we do at SALT-DC? And so you've heard from a lot of our other counterparts in regions 1 through 6, leading up to my region in Region 7, with our Worlds of Opportunity that enhances career exploration for K through 12 students, and then our Educator Workforce Academy, where we really try to take it to the next level on the K through 12 system with our educators. And we'll talk a little bit about what that's done for us and how that's evolved over the past couple of years. And then, of course, enhancing the governor's initiative on Success Plus with our 500,000 qualified workers, which we obviously need to increase that labor force participation rate. We had a launch this year of a new program, our Career Coach Connect, where we bring our career coaches together to really enhance their relationships and access to business and industry. We talk a lot about on the Regional Workforce Council that collaboration and connectivity with other agencies and platforms is really what helps us drive the work that we do. And so this past year, we really did that with the Gulf Coast Challenge College and Career Fair. And so Mobile hosts one of our HBCU football games in the state of Alabama. And so what better time to give students access to college and career exploration, but all while getting ready to play a football game. And so it's kind of the, bringing everything, accumulating together into one event, and the numerous outreach events that we, get called on from our counties and our cities to kind of partner with, or from our school systems all throughout the 7-county region, the 9-county region that we serve. And so when we look at Educator Workforce Academy, our first class, of course, was in 2020, going into 2021 when COVID hit. But of course, we were able to have 34 graduates within the first cohort. You'll see our cohort 2 with 28 and a cohort 3 with 26. But don't let the decrease in number alarm you. That has to do with the quantity of people that we can fit on the bus. And so in order to take them around and see those tours and interact with business and industry, we want to be sure and accommodate and give them the most in-depth, intentional, intimate experience that they can to be able to do that. And so from Educator Workforce Academy is how we grew to the next program, which was our Career Coach Connect. So it takes, a subset of educators and kind of really hones in on some sharing some best practices, because we've not had one career coach for every high school within our counties, but that is a goal for the state system to have that. And so, but it will take time for us to add those at every school and also recruit those educators to be able to fill those spots. But what we want to be able to do is give them a platform where we can provide them with opportunities to collaborate and connect together to make their job a little bit easier. We always like to say we admire and acquire from one another as a team, throughout the regional workforce councils, because the work is long and the work is hard, and we will always have gaps that we will need to be able to fill. And so, part of that streamlines into what are we doing? Where are our successes at? And so just last week in Mobile, we were the host city for the Governor's Office of Education and Workforce Transformation for the work-based learning presentations in Fuel, Alabama. And so Coastal Alabama Community College was recognized for the Governor's Seal of Excellence for the nursing apprenticeship program. So this was the first in our state, and to look at it as, a region impact, but now 30 plus partner facilities going through that. And so really, I know my time is limited, and so you want to take the best opportunity with the time that you have. And so what I want to focus on is where you see the 30 plus partner facilities is also that power behind the partnership that happened. And so you'll see a new logo that some of you have probably never seen before, but you'll see Baldwin County Utility Internship, linking today's student with tomorrow's workforce. And what you see are those connected and joined U's for utility. And so in the summer of 21, Riviera Utilities served on our board for SALT DC, and they knew that they were going to experience a workforce gap. And so part of that was like, what do we do? How do we combat this? And so we as an organization were able to go in and really work with them to design a summer internship program for rising high school seniors. So year one in summer of 21, one company partner hosted 12 high school seniors for jobs. We went into summer 2 of 2022 last summer. We were up to 4 company partners and 20 positions. So going into this summer, we'll have our signing day this Thursday, actually on May 11th. We have 5 company partners within Baldwin County and 30 positions for rising high school seniors with 61 applicants. So what we saw was a 50% placement rate for high school students. And so really, the core of the work that we see that we do with SALT DC is connecting students or individuals with opportunities with business and industry. And so a lot of times, we'll see, it takes time, as you can see here through the timeline. You start with one and then you continue to, one, finesse the program, make it where it's more operational, but then you start building capacity as you go, because from this has turned into other counties with utility organizations starting their own internship programs that possibly look a little different, but we've written the platform for where it starts. And so for us, when Tim came to me and said, we want a Region 7 update, you always want to think about the 1 or 2 things that really you can hang your hat on, where you saw a lot of success and partnership and collaboration happen. And for us, this is where it starts, is when one question gets asked, I have a gap, how do I fill it? And then we start building it and we can replicate it on throughout the system. So that's our update. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but if not, I will turn it back over to you, Tim.
Well, thanks, Bridget. Great update. And for your transportation issue, in the words of Steven Spielberg's Jaw, you're going to need to get in a bigger bus. So there you go. But thanks for that update. It's gonna, y'all have a lot happening down in the SALT DC, and I always look forward to hearing the update. Now, it's Monday, and I had one job to do, and I already screwed it up. I skipped, Bridget may have looked a little surprised when I called on her, because our second speaker was supposed to be Mr. Jeff Brannon from Flowers Hospital and Stephen McCormick. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeff this morning. Good morning, Jeff, and welcome to the AWC webinar.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it very much. Thank you all for the opportunity to work with you guys and to do a brief presentation for you. We wanted to, I was asked kind of when we presented to the Workforce Council in Montgomery a couple months ago to kind of give an update and particularly kind of focus on why Flowers Hospital chose to enter into a agreement with Jersey College to start its own nursing school. So, I think for us, rather than to just read for you, we are certainly in a workforce crunch. We have significant numbers of openings, primarily in the bedside nursing realm, but we'll see as we do this presentation some opportunities that we have in other locations in healthcare as well. So almost 20,000 registered nurses employed in Alabama currently. That seems like a big number, but I would also say that we are 5,000 short on vacant RN positions. Personally, here at my hospital, we have 62 RN openings currently, and I am also dependent still, although to a lesser degree, at a more costly workforce with what we call contract labor or travel nurses. About 19 of my ICU nursing staff right now are what we would consider to be contract labor. And I would have to shut down. I have a 32 bed ICU, 32 ICU beds here at Flowers. If I didn't have those numbers working and doing very well helping us, we would have to shut down a number of beds. Also, there are over 2,700 positions filled, like I said, around the state, and I gave you our personal history there currently. Next slide. So I think probably for us, what really caught my attention was serving on the governor's healthcare workforce task force. Peggy Benson, the executive director of the Alabama Board of Nursing, did a presentation for us about probably 9-10 months ago. And looking back all the way to 2017, you can see, if you did the math, there are roughly 15, almost 16,000 qualified students that were unable to enroll. So part of, even on the local level for us, with Wallace College and Troy University being our primary places of students that we get our students from, they do their clinicals here at our facility. We started looking at, okay, well, if we can begin starting to provide a place for these qualified students to enroll, then we're certainly feel like we're impacting positively our future. And I don't know about y'all, but I think you probably are ones that would like to have at least some semblance of controlling your own destiny. And so that's part of the main reason that we started looking into this. And it's been a process that has taken place now over at least a year, and we will plan to take our first cohort in December. To start in January, we'll take up to 32 applicants. Next slide. So again, just kind of giving you a different flavor for where we are. Previously submitted type information that we talked about, but this is just registered nurses alone, just shy of 20,000 employed, just shy of 5,500 vacant. Obviously a much higher cost to us, with over half of those vacant slots currently being filled by contract staff. So really we've got to replace those as well. Next slide. Currently 1,400 LPNs currently employed in Alabama hospitals, 300 vacant positions, and we believe very strongly in utilizing the licensed practical nurse, because the board has allowed them to, if they can prove competency, they're able to do more than they have been in the past. And what you find is many of these folks want to go ahead and work toward going through a bridge program to become an RN. We'll also offer that opportunity through our program here in Dothan with Jersey College. Next slide. Certainly, we are seeing again the assistive personnel being a big challenge for us as well, but we are also focused on that through hiring and training as well. Next slide. Again, you can kind of see where we are from a vacant position perspective. Those numbers aren't as daunting as the nursing numbers are, but they're still certainly hard to solve for, just because programs aren't turning out the numbers that we need in around the state to be able to fulfill our needs within the walls of our hospitals. And then again, these are the advanced practice roles, but those again, you can see the employed versus the vacant positions. Still, those are also very challenging for us right now. In fact, it's very interesting, and I'm thankful that Auburn has BCOM. They'll be down to visit with us on June the 23rd. They are actually starting what's called an anesthesia assistant program. Not necessarily to the liking of certified registered nurse anesthetists, but they're just not turning out enough of these folks that are going to allow us to continue to be able to provide services inside the walls of our hospitals. So these are also challenging areas as well. Same thing on probably, as you see, you say, well, okay, well, what about environmental services, patient access? Those are patient access or registrars. We hired 12 last week and started them in orientation one-on-one. They're really, really hard to compete with a lot of the retail services now that have increased their hourly rate. but those environmental service and patient care access points are also very problematic for us right now. So I don't know what, we got to figure out ways to figure out how we can get more of them in the door as well. But those are the high vacancy positions. And I'll be happy to take any questions, but want to just tell you again, thank you for all the work that you guys are doing. Appreciate everything that you've done and continue to do. I know that Bridget mentioned apprenticeships. We're in our second semester of taking on nurse apprentices. We feel very strongly about that program. I think the more that we have people get engaged in that, certainly we feel like our journey workers, not that we're faulting our instructors at the local community colleges or at the four-year institutions, but we're finding again that our journey workers are very committed to sharing the knowledge and skills that they've learned through their careers with those brand new nurses. And I've always felt like if we could see one, do one, teach one, we're going to be better off for it. So very strong proponent of that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to share. Be happy to take any questions if you have any. Yeah, we'll mute.
Hey, Tim, you're muted.
I pressed, sorry about that. I tell you, this is a Monday for sure. Jeff, thank you so much for that presentation. We're not able to take questions live, but anybody that wants to send these questions to any of our speakers, I'll remind you to send it to our Alabamaworks web page, and we will reach out to the speakers and get you an answer. But Jeff, thank you so much. And Stephen, thanks for behind the scenes getting the slides running on. So thank you. And
thank you all.
Appreciate your partnership.
Thank you.
Our next speaker this morning will be Rachel Thomas from the Alabama Community College System. She's going to talk to us about MAP. Rachel, the floor is yours. You're mute too, Rachel.
Yes, I am on mute.
That's okay. I do it all the time.
We're just going to join all together on mute today. Yes, as I was introduced earlier, my name is Rachel Thomas. I'm an adult education specialist for the Alabama Community College System. And on behalf of David Walters, I'm presenting for him today. Let me share my screen. And let me just pull one other thing up. Oops, sorry. Okay, so I had to pull up David's new title because it's long. Vice Chancellor of Adult Education, Special Projects, and System Initiatives. I do know what he does, but I had to articulate it the right way. So let me go ahead and get started. What our MAPS program is, and I think this was a really good segue when we heard from the gentleman from Flowers Hospital about the pre-apprenticeships. What this is the fundamental level of the on-ramp to any type of career that's in high demand in the state of Alabama. And what we've done is we've built these entry-level overview orientations of courses that would lead someone into those long-term careers. And how they get enrolled is they go through the adult education department, and when they enter these courses, what we've done is we've made them very dynamic and very engaging and in a micro-learning type way. So students get the most out of it, can earn a credential, and the MAP credential is awarded to individuals who complete courses licensed by the Alabama Community College System. And I'm trying not to take up too much time, and I apologize, I'm a little nervous. But these courses are certainly designed to help students that enter into the workforce know a good direction to go into. And so far, we've got construction, healthcare, hospitality and tourism, information technology, manufacturing, transportation, and logistics. And when this first started, it was based on the Alabama Workforce Stabilization Plan. So that's how the inception of these MAPS courses came to light. And I won't go into that because Dr. Courtney Monet is the expert on that, but that's how I entered into this project in the first place. What I do is I have an instructional design background, so I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to help get these off the ground and running. And we serve over 8,000. We've served over 8,000 students so far, and that have earned a credential in these MAPS courses. But just wanted to show you just kind of how they've kind of evolved and changed. If you, from a student perspective, these courses can be offered entirely online, hybrid, and in person. We make it flexible for the student where they can learn at any point in time. They're roughly, most of them are 20-hour courses. And once a student earns a certificate in these MAPS courses, they will also be articulated for 1 college credit. Part of also what we wanted to do was provide, like I said, this as an on-ramp to the Skills for Success. I don't know if I won't go into that, but that's part of what we wanted to build upon so they could get these short-term trainings and be credentialed. And we've worked with thousands of business and industry and subject matter experts to make sure that they're getting the best content possible and that they have reviewed and vetted all of the information that has been put into these courses. I would say, though, based on region, construction in the South is probably the most utilized. Definitely manufacturing in the North is very popular. Transportation and logistics is it's statewide. And back to healthcare in the South especially, we've had a lot of students get this healthcare credential that moved them into they would go from this to be a CNA or a phlebotomist, and now they're in the nursing program. And it just kind of helps with that on-ramp into those careers. Let me pull over one more screen and give you just a little bit more information. So how we're helping Alabama residents with these MAPS programs. Alabama residents who are displaced in career fields with low wages or who are new to the workforce but face barriers, this is a more streamlined approach, like I said, to get them credentialed and have them prepared for what they're looking for in the workforce. And I'll go back to the healthcare, for instance, not hospitality, apologize. What we cover in healthcare, they will see that, this is how they need to basically be ethical at work and have etiquette at work with their coworkers and the patients. We go also into medical terminology, healthcare technology, medical conversions, workplace safety, insurance basics, patient care and dignity, steps to employment, customer service, and then they collect their certificate. But we go really in detail with like conversions, taking measurement conversions and making sure, that they know that basic fundamental math. So all of that is within these courses. Let me go back to and we do have a website for MAPS that gives general information, but the way that they can enroll is, like I said, if they would go to acccs.edu/adult education /MAPS and go down to the bottom of the page, they can go to find a provider and they would contact their local adult education provider to get enrolled. And any adult in the state of Alabama can take this course for free, any of these courses. And I think my time is up, and if I rambled, I apologize.
No, you did great, Rachel. Appreciate that. The
Thank
MAP
y'all.
program is, that's a key to getting people engaged in the workforce. And this is, as you can see, people in the audience today can see, workforce takes a whole group of people. Everybody's got to work together. And the community college system is very, very critical to that in Alabama. So it's a great way to these programs like MAP, a great way to introduce people that previously have not been in the workforce. So as Nick mentioned this morning, we've got a low labor force participation rate that we've got to increase. In Alabama, every 1% of labor force participation is approximately 50,000 people. So we're down, we're about 5% below the national average. So we're looking around 250,000 people that we need to get back active in the workforce. The community college system is critical in getting that happening. So thanks again, Rachel. You did a great job.
I don't think I even shared my screen, did I?
You did.
Okay, I was just making sure. Oh my goodness. Thank
You're
you.
good. You're good. Hey, it's Monday. That's why we do this on Monday. It gives us a little bit of latitude.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
There you go. There you go. Thanks, Rachel. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Our final speaker today is Mr. Dan Hinderleiter. I did it right, Dan. I've been a little worried about mispronouncing your name, but Dan's the Senior Policy Associate with Advanced CTE out of DC. Dan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman McCartney. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all today. My name is Dan Hinderleiter. I'm a Senior Policy Associate with Advanced CTE. If you're unfamiliar with Advanced CTE, check out our website, careertech.org. We are a national membership organization for state agencies that support career technical education. And we are also leading the process to modernize the National Career Clusters framework. I was asked by Nick Moore to come present today about the career clusters, given the strong investments that Alabama has made in the career clusters and CTE and workforce preparation more broadly. If you're unfamiliar with the National Career Clusters framework, Advanced CTE helped incept it back in 2002 as a way to organize career technical education nationwide. And most states have adopted it in their own state and statewide, including Alabama. And we've actually gone through a variety of steps to improve and modernize the National Career Clusters framework, in large part because the current Career Clusters framework is woefully out of date, considering it was started back in 2002. So I just wanted to share a little bit more about the process and kind of where we are, what our updates are, and kind of how you can all help and participate in this process as we work towards a more future-oriented and learner-centric framework. So over the past 3 years or so, we've engaged hundreds of stakeholders about the use of the framework, the challenges that it has, and the opportunities that are in front of us as the world of work changes and moves into the 21st century. In October 2021, we adopted a purpose statement for the new framework, which is that the National Career Clusters framework provides structural alignment and a common language to bridge education and work, empowering each learner to explore, decide on, and prepare for dynamic and evolving careers, which, given the presentations that preceded me, I think we're all on board for. So I hope that you all can participate in this process moving forward, given how much you're all invested in workforce preparation and development. In December of last year, we restarted a new process to better understand how to stand up a new framework as this true bridge between education and the evolving world of work. We stood up a national advisory committee comprised of local and state administrators from the world of CTE, education, labor, nonprofit experts, researchers, to serve as guides and advisors for this process. And your own Nick Moore was actually selected to sit on this national committee because of the expertise that he brings to this space. We also hired consultants from WestEd's Center on Economic Mobility and Indigo Education to help shepherd this work forward and ultimately provide validated recommendations to the changes to the framework that both apply to education and the world of work. So as I mentioned, our restarted process revolves heavily around industry engagement and workforce involvement to ensure the framework can truly serve as this common language so that educators and industry can speak to each other and not past each other, which is, again, something I know that we're all in favor of. And so really our next step in this process is taking place this week. We're hoping to stand up 15 nationally representative industry advisory groups to provide cluster-specific insight into language, unique challenges, and the independent workforce need for individual sectors, like those challenges that Mr. Brandon clearly laid out earlier in the seminar today. And these industry advisory groups were designed using the current career clusters framework and a combination of the NAICS, SIP, and SOC codes to kind of represent the entirety of the world of work. And I do want to share the caveat that the industry advisory groupings are not meant to signal what the eventual new career clusters framework will look like. They do not serve as a prototype for a new framework, but are just a way for us to better represent what's there currently and what might be missing from the existing framework. So starting on Wednesday, that is 2 days from now, we are opening a public and open nomination process to recommend or to self-nominate industry representatives to sit on these industry advisory groups for each of the industry advisory groups, each of the 15. And so we're looking for approximately 30 or so participants for each group to help us achieve geographic and organizational diversity. We're looking for small and medium-sized businesses. We're looking for groups from all over the workforce spectrum. So I hope that you can participate. The forum will remain open for approximately 1 month. And those industry advisory groups, in terms of time commitment, they'll meet about 3 times over the course of the year for no more than about 10 hours of total work time. So that includes any additional work that might happen outside of those meetings as well. And we're hoping to announce a final version of the new framework before the end of 2024, assuming full and final approval by the advanced CTE boards of directors. So Nick Moore is actually going to be the person who will probably get all of this information. So I'm hopeful that Nick can kind of share out this information to your council and to all of the stakeholders that are on the call today more broadly. And you're certainly able to participate as you'd like. Fill out the nomination form, either for yourself or for another representative that you think would be a willing participant to help us in this endeavor to modernize the National Career Clusters Framework. If you go to careertech.org/the-framework, once again, careertech.org/the-framework, you'll be able to see all of the updates about this process to modernize the National Career Clusters Framework, including where we've been and kind of our process moving forward. You can also email careerclusters@careertech.org if you have any other specific questions that you would like us to answer or about your participation in the process. There will be other opportunities to participate more broadly, especially as we start to develop more comprehensive career clusters and their underlying pathways. So just keep in the loop. You can go to careertech.org and sign up for our newsletters, noting the career clusters checkbox to make sure that you stay in the loop with all of our career clusters update. With that, I'll turn it back to Chairman McCartney. If you have any questions, please do let me know.
Well, thanks, Dan. That's great information. So we have several people I can think of right off the top of my mind about who need to serve on those committees. And I encourage anyone listening this morning or later to go ahead and sign up for that. We need your expertise. It sounds a lot like work that we're doing with the ACCC program with the TAC committees. So that's very, very important. It's hard work, but it's very valuable work that we've got to have. So Dan, I appreciate it. We appreciate what y'all do. And we'll post that on our Alabamaworks website to get a little bit more information out there, okay? So thanks again for being with us this morning. And I believe that wraps up all of our speakers today. I want to thank them all again, starting off with Nick and Jeff Brennan from Flowers Hospital, Rachel Thomas of the Community College System, Bridget Wilson from SAW DC, and as you just heard, Dan Hinderleiter from CTE, Advanced CTE. So thank y'all so much for joining us. Remember, you can access these programs at any time. They're on our Alabamaworks website. And I also want to welcome to the fold Mr. Jerry Weisenfeld, who's behind the scenes running this operation this morning, along with Chris Roquemore. Chris is always behind the scenes, works for AIDT. And thanks, Jerry. Welcome to the group. We appreciate you being with us and did a good job. If I hadn't screwed my part up, so it'd have made you feel bad, but this is normal for me. I'll make some errors every week. So in the meantime, y'all have a great week. Please join us again on Monday, June 12th at 9 a.m. for our monthly webinar. Until then, have a great week.
Thank you.